The record fine is a warning to others to get...
Correct. What does Italy owe to Spain?
27 billion, but they haven't got it, they're broke.
Ongoing investigation into the Libor rigging scandal. Search warrants were issued for 3 properties.
Ah, yes. And as we get the new format underway, you are part of the change. Attitude Radio does continue right here with Radio Free Canada. We switch gears. We were talking about the climate before.
And now we're going to be talking about banks and their shenanigans.
Wait, banking shenanigans?
What have they been up to? I don't know.
Hang on a second. Part of my opinion, protected under Section 2 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, is that fractional reserve lending is wrong. But part of the media
that we're presenting is protected under international fair use copyright laws.
So nah. You know, we get to do that in kind of a cool way too. Ha ha, take that. Radio Free Canada bringing you Bankster Shenanigans right here. And what do you got? Yes?
Well, we need something to smile about first, don't we?
I think I need a reason to smile. Thanks for joining us with the show. Let's start it off like this.
Time now for John Clark and Brian Dorr with a few reflections on Europe's financial woes.
Your name is Roger, yes?
Roger.
Ah, that's your name.
Roger.
Good. And what do you do, Roger?
I'm a financial consultant.
Ah, financial consultant, eh?
Roger,
yeah,
yes.
Terrific. And Roger, how's business at the moment?
Not bad, thank you. Been a bit quiet lately.
How do you mean lately?
Since the war, been a bit quiet.
Fair enough. Okay, Roger, your special subject tonight is the economies of the European community. Your time starts now. Best of luck.
Thank you.
How much does Greece owe, Roger?
$367 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Mostly to the other European economies.
Correct. How much does Ireland owe?
$865 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Other European economies, mostly.
Correct. How much do Spain and Italy owe?
$1 trillion each.
Correct. Who to?
Mainly France, Britain and Germany.
Correct. And how are Germany, France and Britain going, Roger?
Well, they're struggling a bit, aren't they?
Correct. Why?
Because they've lent all these vast amounts of money to other European economies that can't possibly pay them back.
Correct. So what are they going to do?
They're going to have to bail them out.
Correct. Where are they getting the money to do that, Roger?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one.
How much does Portugal owe?
Hang on a minute. What was the answer to that earlier question?
Just keep answering the questions, Roger. Where is Portugal going to get the money it owes to Germany if Germany can't get back the money that it lent to Italy?
Just a minute. What was the answer to the previous question? The question was, how can broke economies lend money to other broke economies who haven't got any money because they can't pay back the money the broke economy lent to the other broke economy and shouldn't have lent it to them in the first place because the broke economy can't pay it back?
You're wasting very valuable time, Roger. How much money does Spain owe to Italy?
$41 billion, but where are they going to get it?
Correct. What does Italy owe to Spain?
$27 billion, but they haven't got it, they're broke.
Correct. How can they pay each other if neither of them has any money?
They're going to get a bailout, aren't they?
Correct. And where's the money coming from for the bailout?
That's what I'm asking you.
Correct. Why are people selling the European currency and buying the US dollar?
Because the US economy is so much stronger than the European economy.
Correct. Why is that, Roger?
Because it's owned by China.
Correct. And very well done. And after that round, you've lost $1 million.
I've lost $1 million. I thought you said well done.
Yes, well done. You've only lost $1 million. That's an extraordinary performance, Roger.
I've only lost $1 million.
Very well done.
And that's quite good, is it?
Oh, it's excellent.
Sell everything immediately. Quickly.
I think it's called laughing as you sink.
Oh, welcome to the show, Radio Free Canada.
That was World Collapse Explained in 3 minutes.
That was absolutely awesome. I was actually impressed because they are explaining it the way that it works. They make money up out of nowhere. They're bankrupting entire countries to do it.
And they're manipulating interest rates and energy rates all over the place.
Now, the Libor scandal should be at the tip of everybody's tongues when they talk about 2012. They were rigging the way the rates were working right across nations.
Yes, I know. I don't know how you can rate them below zero.
Yeah. Well, apparently they found out a way to do it. Let's run a clip and let's get into this. Radio Free Canada, this is the information.
The Serious Fraud Office has announced that 3 men aged 33, 41 and 47 have been arrested as part of the ongoing investigation into the Libor rigging scandal. Search warrants were issued for 3 properties in the southeast of England, 1 in Surrey and 2 in Essex. The 3 men, all confirmed to be British nationals, have been transported to a London police station for further questioning. The Libor Scandal came to light back in June this year when Barclays Bank was fined £290 million for attempting to manipulate the rate, which is the figure at which banks lend to each other and then sets the benchmark for retail bank and mortgage rates. But Barclays were not the only big bank who admitted juggling the rate, although they were the only bank to demand the head of the company chief executive, Bob Diamond, who was forced to resign over the scandal, which then prompted the Serious Fraud Office in July to formally launch a criminal investigation into banks and individuals who are implicated into the wider rigging of interbank lending rates. I'm Anne Salter, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the very latest news and updates on these Libor arrest story with me at ibtimes.co.uk.
And don't forget that Iceland did the same thing, except they did it in 2008.
And they've actually convicted some bankers.
They threw bankers in jail in Iceland for screwing up the economy. They just lied their butts off right across the board. Something like the conservative government did right here. And, oh, by the way, we did bail out our banks. Let's not forget that one. But
I never thought I'd see that bankers got arrested over libel.
I know.
And if I see anybody get convicted, I will be really questioning reality.
But the one banker who got thrown into jail in Iceland made such a fuss, he got thrown in solitary.
Oh, really? I missed that bit.
Yeah. Well, you know, you actually have to watch outside independent news from around the world to get the real story. If you watch CBC, you don't even know Iceland had a revolution. Let's take a quick break. 2 minutes for the guys in the networks, okay? This is so fun.
The following James Bond preview has been approved for all audiences by the 007 Fan Club.
I was always very interested to meet you.
Are you going to tell us where you're from?
The first thing you should know about us is that we have people everywhere.
You don't mean?
Yes. Canadians. It's James Bond in Quantum of Canada.
How the hell can these people be everywhere? And yet we know nothing about them.
Name check. Dominic Red.
He's a person of extreme interest to us. Find him, Bond.
This is the world's most precious resource. We Canadians need to control as much of it as we can. Right now, you're the only person I can trust.
I wish I could set you free. But your prison is in there. It's illegal to drive and use a cell phone in Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, Quebec, and soon to be Ontario.
Welcome to Canada, Mr. Bond. Roll that up to win.
These Canadians are too polite, Bond. They cannot be trusted.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I believe my chin cut your knuckle. Wasting precious beer bottles. Now you've done it, Mr. Bond. Boys, take care of him.
Quantum of Canada, now playing in Canadian theaters till Sunday.
Oh, man, welcome. You know what? It's so cool working around here because we get to talk about everything they're too scared to talk about around the world. And one of the things, we do get to make fun of being Canadian from time to time.
Well, it's fun to be Canadian sometimes.
It is fun to be Canadian. Why? Well, we get to mock quite a bit and do it in a polite way.
Yes, we are known. We are known to be polite, but our reputation is changing around the world thanks to Stephen Harper.
Yeah, I know. Now they think we're a bunch of, weirdos, oh, yes, oil over everything. Warfare is a good thing. Torture, yes, jolly good thing.
Yes.
I know. Harper's kind of messed, though. Talking about banks getting in trouble, remember, they make money up out of nowhere. They're bankrupting entire countries doing it. Fractional reserve lending is catching up.
It's all a huge racket and fraud. They're committing financial terrorism.
It is. It is financial terrorism. Remember, central banks fund both sides of any war. They bomb the heck out of each other's countries, and then they finance the rebuilding efforts. It's a win-win, and now it's coming right to an end.
Well, during the global crash 4 years ago,
Yep.
drug money is what kept the economy afloat.
Oh, really? Check it out.
A year-long US government investigation found that HSBC essentially acted as banker to some of the world's most dangerous people. Clients from Saudi Arabia, Syria and Russia used the bank to channel money from illegal operations through the bank's US arm. It sent money to Iran despite a government ban. Mexican authorities warned the bank several times over several years, yet Mexican drug cartels continued to launder billions of dollars through HSBC accounts. Called in front of a powerful US Senate committee to explain, the bank apologized.
We deeply regret and apologize for the fact that HSBC did not live up to our own expectations, the expectations of our regulators, our customers, our employees and the general public.
HSBC has now confirmed they will pay the record fine. They'll pay $1.3 billion to settle outstanding criminal cases and pay a civil fine of more than $650 million. That ends all current investigations into the bank's dealings. At the US government hearing in July, the bank's head of compliance told senators it had tightened its rules and he was leaving the company.
As I have thought about the structural transformation of the bank's compliance function, I recommended to the group that now is the appropriate time for me and for the bank for someone new to serve as the head of group compliance.
HSBC is not the first bank to get on the wrong side of regulators in recent months. The record fine is a warning to others to get their operations in order and quickly. John Joe Regan, Al Jazeera.
So apparently they're sorry.
Yes, they apologize.
I mean, you know, yeah.
For their criminal behavior that they should be going to jail for having the corporate charter stripped from them for, they're sorry.
Oh, I almost feel sorry for the bankers. Doing the perp walk.
We help terrorists and drug cartels.
One more on banks, and I want you to make up your mind. Check this out.
One of the big players in this debate, as you said, is this campaign called Fix the Debt. More than 80 CEOs of America's largest corporations, and they're doing a massive media and lobbying blitz, portraying themselves as the reasonable ones because they're calling for both raising revenues and cutting spending. But if you look at the details of their tax plan, you see that they are really just a Trojan horse. They're pushing for the same old tax breaks for corporations that they've been pushing for about a decade. And we looked at one of them, which is they want a permanent exemption from U.S. taxes for all of their foreign earnings. And we calculated that the companies in this campaign stand to gain a windfall of as much as $134 billion if they get this corporate tax break through. And so people should be very wary of this big ad campaign that they're about to see in their newspapers across the country. This is just one more corporate attack on our fair taxation system.
Sarah, who exactly is involved in this Fix the Debt campaign? Who are these CEOs?
Well, it's many household names, General Electric, Honeywell, Boeing, and so forth. And as we've been documenting at IPS, many of them are serial tax dodgers already. They've been using accounting shenanigans to shift profits to overseas tax havens to lower their tax bills. And in fact, one way that we illustrate this is we found that in 24 of these companies, they actually paid their CEO more last year than they paid to Uncle Sam. So they've been lowering their tax bills already. They want to continue doing that, and they're just taking advantage of this so-called fiscal cliff crisis to push that ahead.
So don't forget about that. The one thing that they're not discussing, there is no fiscal cliff. There is a fiscal scam, and that's what's going on right now. They made up money out of nowhere.
It scares people, though.
Oh, it's scary.
The fiscal cliff.
You know, when you pay all of the bankers to say, hey, things are going wrong, and then they all say, oh, things are going wrong, and then the media just goes along and never discusses the way the system actually works. Now, okay, I'm just going to take out 5 seconds and say how the system works. You walk in, you get a loan from the bank makes money up out of nowhere, it opens up a bank account, you get a piece of paper that says you have 50 grand
in the bank.
But there was
not
no
really
money.
There. It's not really there. They just say it is.
Yeah. So they do this for governments. They do this for individuals. They do this for militaries.
But if we do it, it's called counterfeiting.
I know. Oh, sorry to be so logical. We're going to be back. Hang on.